This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Good Wednesday morning to you. It is a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course, it's YouTube TV, by the way, not YouTube TV. Sirius XM channel 158. Yes. It's Gil Alexander. Just wanted to clarify, in case you were looking for YouTube TV. Gil Alexander, that is Kelly Bidlin, everybody.
I kind of want to punch in YouTube TV in my browser right now, but I'm a little scared of what might come up.
It's like Bono and then us. And then back to Bono.
I didn't even think about that.
This show is packed with guests, overbooked. Ladies and gentlemen, on the show today, hour number 2, not even listed because there's no room.
No room. It's on a second graphic.
Rufus Peabody will join us. Maybe the best better of his generation. What's he going to do? He going to keep on betting? These days with new tax laws? We'll find out from Rufus. Been traveling the world. Ed Fang from the Power Rank. These, of course, are folks who are here for Bet Bash. Bet Bash 5, Spanky Sports Betting Conference. So Ed Fang, Rufus Peabody, Kelly Country Clubbing on the BMW as well in hour number 2. Greg Peterson, full MLB slate.
Oops,
Peterson with MLB. Did I look at the MLB schedule and see that everything is like an hour back today in the morning?
Oh, really? Let me check that out.
Or did my phone just go on the fritz and start going in a different time zone?
Put you in mountain time?
Yeah. I don't know. Greg Peterson, full MLB slate. He'll be talking. Paul Carr. This is my favorite Paul Carr appearance of the year.
I'm pumped, actually. Like, really pumped.
Yeah. Premier League season longs.
I was listening to him on the podcast for a little bit on my way in.
The Ringer
podcast.
Yeah.
And they did like an hour and 45 minutes. I didn't listen to the whole thing, obviously.
He'll talk title. He'll talk top half. He'll talk bottom half, relegation, last place, golden boot.
He'll explain to us what top half and bottom half mean.
I think it's self-explanatory.
Oh, okay. It is?
See, there's 20 teams. Then there's 10 on top, and there's 10 on the bottom.
Like, those are like conferences?
No, it's just you can make bets in those markets.
Okay.
No conferences. And then we can talk about other stuff with him, too. Again, off-season main storylines. We'll do it all Premier League. And Will Hill will join us before all of that for all of his bets across the old sports betting landscape. There are no tennis plays this morning, Kelly, which, I don't know, some people will say, oh, okay, how could you have none with the momentum? Yesterday, by the way, in tennis, hit another couple big doggies. We were 2-2, but the two winners were a plus 235 on Lucia Bronzetti and a plus 264 on Ella Seidel.
Nice.
Could have even had a better day. Seidel won a tiebreaker, come from behind tiebreaker to win that match for us. But the other two matches, which were a plus 311 and a plus 181, the plus 311 lost 2 consecutive tiebreakers, and the plus 181 lost a tiebreaker that she had no business losing a set, that particular set. But anyway, a plus 235 and a plus 264 yesterday, a plus 319 the day before, a plus 147, a plus 263, a plus 196, and a plus 142 to boot the last 4 days. So it has been a tennis cavalcade. And yet, Kelly Bidlin, no tennis plays today. We're at the business end of the tournament in Cincinnati, which is, of course, the prelim, if you will, to the United States Open. And the reason is because I'm not just going to force something because we're hitting a lot of dogs here and doing very well. I could make a case for one play, which is Anna Kalinskaya against Ekaterina Alexandrova. And this is a sort of a handicapping little case study where it's okay. Everything's going well. The numbers are looking great on my end, obviously manifesting in some big wins. But even with some value that I'm showing on Kalinskaya, hey, if handicapping were only that easy, right? There's a I don't usually pay attention to head-to-head competition.
Oh, that's interesting.
But Alexandrova has beaten Kalinskaya 6 out of 6 times. So I'm going to have the humility in the numbers here to say that maybe there's something I'm not capturing in this matchup.
I think that's completely fair. That's completely fair.
In baseball, for instance, when I handicap baseball, a lot of people look at BVP, batter versus pitcher stats, and I think a lot of handicappers overrate that. Because unless you have 50 at-bats or something like that, it's really noise in terms of a head-to-head matchup between batter and pitcher.
I always like to kind of pick and choose things that I can compare what we do, golf and tennis, especially with them being individual sports. But, of course, that's not something that I'm ever looking at with golf. But that's interesting to hear because I feel like I think I'd look at it the same way. You're weighing recent form data way more than what you're weighing with those guys head-to-head lifetime.
Yeah, and so in other words, why are you doing it for this one in this tennis match? Just because there's just a hunch on it that I also don't do well with Kalinskaya, generally speaking. There's always a tennis player or two, or a baseball pitcher, a pitcher in baseball. I always talked about Irvin Santana as my guy whenever all those years I had.
Keith Mitchell in golf.
Yeah, Irvin Santana was my guy in baseball. I always talked about. I was like, when I faded him, he was Cy Young. When I backed him, he was a gas can. So with Kalinskaya, I never seem to get her right. So I'm gonna steer clear of that. Now, if she wins, what is she now, plus 150 dog or whatever she is, plus 155? Will I hate myself? Yeah, probably a little bit.
How do you feel about these futures right now? We got Sabs plus 220 and Iga plus 275.
Yeah.
Anybody call her Sabs?
Just you.
I'm gonna start that.
Sabs. Iga hasn't played, it feels like, in a week because she got a walkover on these. I think that's properly priced. I mean, I obviously think Iga's should be shorter, but tomato.
Kalinskaya plus 150 at DraftKings.
Yeah, it's getting there, but yeah, I'm just gonna err on the side of caution today with no tennis plays. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Baseball. The Milwaukee Brewers may never lose again. The Milwaukee Brewers now with an 11-game win streak. They beat Paul Skeens, and by the way, that has some NL Cy Young implications, perhaps. But they beat Paul Skeens and the Pirates by 2 touchdowns yesterday, 14-0. And that's the 11th straight win for the Brewers. They are now the first team to have 2 11-game winning streaks since the 2015 Toronto Blue Jays. It's been 10 years since another team did this in one season. 2 11-game winning streaks. You know how long it's taken the Brewers to have those 2 11-game winning streaks? A span of 38 days. They did it wrapped around the All-Star break in July as well.
Yep. You were out when this was happening.
Yes.
Matt Brown was in.
Yeah.
We got a note of this. Don't know if you picked this up in the rundown.
Oh,
George Webb's Free Burgers.
You love this stuff.
I love this stuff. It's back on the line. Back on the line. Brewers need one more win. I've never seen a George Webb Burgers. I don't even know what it is, Gil. We talked about some fast food earlier in the week. Never seen one. Never heard of it. Giving away free burgers though. If they pick up a 12-game winning streak. Do you know how many times it's happened in the history of the franchises of Milwaukee?
Since you're asking like that, it's got to be very few.
Twice.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
And here they have 2 11s almost back-to-back. But again, in a span of 38 days. Again, it's the 2015 Jays, the 1935 Cubs, and the 1954 Cleveland Indians. Those are the only other teams that have done it twice, 2 11-game winning streaks in the same season. That's amazing.
Wild. Yeah. Get those burgers. Don't let the fans down, Brewers. Come on.
And the Brewers, by the way, waited till August began to do this second one. So they are 11-0 in the month of August. I have the Rangers, who are just miserable. They immediately stopped scoring runs. This is my worst call of any of the months. But even if I had the Mariners, which is one of the other teams I considered, again at 9-1, right behind the 11-0 Brewers in August, the Brewers still have 2 extra games to play than do the Mariners. So this is a massive lead in the August sweepstakes here between the Brewers and everybody else.
Plus 57.
Plus 57. Look at those 1-run records for all those teams up on that board right there.
Yeah, that's correct. Man,
Brewers
Mariners
3-0,
wow.
Mariners 5-0.
Brewers to minus 170 in updated odds to win this month with 19 games remaining.
Just amazing. Okay, they go for 12 in a row today against the Pirates. So 2 divisions in Major League Baseball. The big headline: 2 divisions tied at the top now.
Finally happened, Dodgers.
AL West, NL West. AL West, Astros, Mariners. NL West, Dodgers, Padres. And that's the big news atop divisions. And so there's also these interesting, markets for the number 6 seed in each league, which I think are pretty interesting. Actually, can I do the NL one first, guys? Sorry about that. A little curveball here.
These also shifted drastically because of those results last night with the divisions getting tied up, right? You get another wild card possibility, even more likely.
The NL one to me is properly priced. In other words, if you look at the NL right now, the NL standings and the way that it shakes out, I only think there's 2 teams to consider here. I really do. That's the Mets and the Reds. The Mets currently inhabit the number 6 position in Major League Baseball's in the National League's playoff standings. The Mets are in 6th, where the Reds are 2 games behind them. Now, the reason teams like the Dodgers or the Padres, who currently, again, the Padres would lose a tiebreaker. So the Padres technically are the number 2 wild card team, even though they're tied with the Dodgers right now. The Cubs are the number 1 wild card team. Behind Cincinnati, who's 2 games out, you have the Cardinals and Giants of the world. I don't think either of those 2 teams are good enough to catapult, some of them even quit, to take the 6th seed. In other words, the 3rd wild card. And I don't think San Diego or the Dodgers, no matter how you feel about them, or the Cubs, no matter how you feel about them, are going to fall, because the Cubs have the 3rd easiest schedule the rest of the way. The Padres have the 2nd easiest schedule the rest of the way, and the Dodgers have the single easiest schedule the rest of the way. So to me, it's Mets versus Reds. That's it. And the Mets have the 2-game lead, plus 160, Reds 5-1. If there's any bet here, it's only on those 2 teams.
Not feeling Cardinals at all?
No.
4 games back? Okay.
By the way, Reds,
good breakdown.
But here's the problem. The Reds have the single hardest remaining schedule in all of baseball.
That checks out, because I was going to say that number feels a little long for where they're at.
Yeah, so if you're thinking about the 5-1, keep that in mind. The AL, so that one's not very sexy bet-wise. This one's not very sexy bet-wise because it's a complete free-for-all.
Throw a dart, yeah.
Yeah. And I couldn't tell you, like, to me, the best value is probably the Rangers and then the Astros falling at 7-1 to plus 750, but I have no conviction behind it. Rangers can't hit. Astros would have to fall quite a little bit.
Yeah.
Red Sox are probably the correct short shot, but this is a complete dart throw to me. I don't see any particular value on any team, and I don't want to prattle on and make it a case for any of them. But those are interesting markets you can bet into, for sure, as well. We'll get Will Hill's thoughts on that. Maybe he has a thought on the AL and all his bets. Next, on a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Got a good thing coming, just wait and see. It's a good.
On the next A Numbers Game, it is Bet Bash Week, and it is in full swing, and we got you covered. Rufus Peabody, maybe the best bettor of his generation, joins us. Talk all things sports betting, as does Dr. Bob in the flesh. How about that? A rare treat. Ed Fang from the Power Rank as well. And then our non-Bet Bash folks, our regular guest, Paul Carr with soccer plays, Greg Peterson with a full slate of Major League Baseball plays, and Will Hill with all of his bets across the sports betting landscape. Numbers Game, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, right here at VSiN.
All of a sudden, it's getting down to the wire.
What shouldn't happen is now happening. We promised you carnage.
This whole contest is flipped upside down.
I'm sweating out these games, and it's the only thing on my mind right now.
I think I've thrown up 3 times in the last 10 minutes.
I couldn't do this again. We may have to find a few more survivors here, or this documentary is not going to last much longer.
All of a sudden, things got smoother. Yes! You got all the way to the final week with 18 circus survivors going into week 18.
Every game is up for grabs.
We're going to go the distance.
It's over. Blue Jackets, big checks.
You want me to be like Happy Gilmore and take the big check and put it in my car?
This year has been so unpredictable, we just never know.
New episodes start August 12th, 9 p.m. Eastern, only on VSiN.
Brewers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Want to bet smarter? Start with Smarter Insights. Right now, you can check out Wes Reynolds' BMW Championship picks, Greg Peterson's MLB Best Bets. We'll have Greg on here soon. And Lou Finicaro's UFC 319 picks. Later today, you can check out Josh Applebaum's MLB Betting Splits Best Bets, Tyler Shoemaker's WNBA picks, and Steve Makinen's MLB Analytics Report. Right now, you can sign up for as little as $9.99 to access all the VSiN Pro articles. Just head to VSiN.com/subscribe to sign up today. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Y'all are the best. This is from Novak. I think that's Novak Djokovic, maybe?
Probably.
He says, will Paul Carr be on this week? Yes, Paul Carr's coming up here on the show today.
Back-to-back days.
Ooh.
We got futures today, match bets tomorrow.
Paul Carr back-to-back. The Better Life Tim Lawson, question for Paul Carr. How much does he consider teams coming in or out of European tournaments from the year prior when assessing season futures? I will ask him that. I like when folks tweet in questions for Paul. Scuba Scott, Brewers winning their 12th consecutive game today activates the I don't know if you know this, Kelly, activates the long-standing Wisconsin promotion of George Webb free hamburgers statewide in effect.
My guy T-Berg95 sent me an article on this. Dude, they've been doing this since the 40s, Gil. The 40s. They've only had to pay up twice.
Get ready, George Webb.
They call it a Milwaukee tradition that's as legendary as the call itself.
How can it be as legendary if it's only happened twice?
Why not twice?
He says they'll set a date for the promotion and people literally line up hundreds deep for a $2 chuck. Todd Hoyer. Oh, that's a good point by Todd. He says, the 2017 Cleveland Indians sort of had 2 11-game winning streaks. They just happened to be consecutive. That's a good point. And then J-Rod, shout out to James Sott. He was going to drive down to see Eagle play Marta Kostyuk on Monday, but Marta pulled out Sunday night. Brutal, yes. James tweeted us about that. Imagine he was like, I can't wait to see Eagle play. And then Marta Kostyuk said, I'm quitting and I'm going home.
Shout out to J-Rod who stopped by before the show.
Yeah, J-Rod. It's our dude. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Will Hill joins us now from a not undisclosed location. That's Mark Borchard. By the way, podcast with Borchard after the show today.
Nice.
Q3 MLB. Right before our NFL Futures Draft as well. Big day.
Bum, bum, bum.
Will Hill, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line now. You can follow him on Twitter at @NotTheWillHill. He's the host of his own podcast called Shoulda Bet More. And in addition to being a star of the Megapod and Chris Felica's Bear Bets pods. How you doing, Will?
Gilly, what's going on? Kelly, good to see you guys.
Good to see you. Can we start with where Kelly and I just left off last segment, which is trying to pinpoint a number 6 seed in the American League. We also did the National League, but I think the American League is a little more fascinating. Could you back a team in that market?
I want to keep saying Texas, but at some point you just have to put your previous biases aside. I will say, I've gotten futures on them along the way before the season. I think 25-1. I bet them with you in August. I added to them right around the deadline. I added them in an exact matchup in the World Series with the Padres at 203-1. But at some point, it just, you know what, I'm looking for something. I want to see something that's not there because they just can't hit. They just can't score enough runs. We were talking in the group chat a couple days ago, I think, where they don't have enough run producers. It's Seager and it's not much else. Garcia doesn't give them much. So I want to say Texas, but if I had to bet anything there, I'd probably just take a shot on Cleveland at plus 550 in what has been a wild season. I mean, that's a 30 for 30 waiting to happen the Cleveland season because they were in the ALCS last year or lost 10 in a row, under 500, and here they are, all the gambling scandals. Their closer, who was third in Cy Young not that long ago, all these guys off the team, and here they are making a surge, not only in the wild card, but in the divisions. And look, I don't know if you've discussed this. I can't remember anything like this, and I don't think it's getting talked about enough. These divisions, the swings in these divisions, just go in every single one. The AL East, the Yankees led by 7 at one point. They now trail by about 6. AL Central, the Tigers led Cleveland by 15.5 games on July 6th. It's down to 4. AL West, Astros led by 7. They're now even with the Mariners. NL West, the Dodgers led by 9 on the 4th of July. They're now even. NL Central, the Cubs led by 6.5 in the middle of June. They now trail by 7.5. And the Mets and Phillies, Mets were up by 5.5, and they were down as much as 6 a day or so ago, and they made up a game, so now it's, I believe, 5. You don't see this. You see maybe one of these a year. Those are wild swings we've seen in these divisions. I don't think it's being talked about enough. To go from 15.5 out to 4 out to erase a 9-game lead. The Dodgers had a 9-game lead on the 4th of July. It's zip. We're even. And I actually think the Padres, I know it's a tough schedule. I think the Padres are better than the Dodgers right now. I actually think they're going to win the division, but I just think it's being discussed, underplayed, just the wild swings we've seen in the division. I think the stat is like 75-80% of teams that are in first place on Memorial Day usually win the division. So we can say, the season's long, crazy things happen, which is true, but you don't see things like this. To have it in all 6 divisions is just wild.
Yeah, and who was it? Like the Morgan, Adam, and Morahone for the Padres. Their ERAs are all below 2, not below 3, all below 2. Right, so it's such an incredible bullpen. It's a great point you make. My only response to it also is ... and there's still a quarter of the season left.
I know.
So like you can't even finish writing that story, right? Because if the Yankees came back strong, if the Dodgers came back strong, which guys like Mark Borger believe they will, Dodgers with health, coming back, in good form after the return of players. Then it's sort of less of a story, right? It's like, oh, well, that was cute. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and you dissect these schedules. The Padres have 6 against the Dodgers. I think a few of those this weekend, so those will be fun. But Padres have 3 against the Mets, 3 against the Brewers, 3 against the Mariners, and then those 6 with the Dodgers. That's a pretty tough schedule. They do get 7 with the Rockies, but so do the Dodgers. And again, but we can sit here and look and talk about strength of schedule. The Dodgers have lost all 6 games to the Angels here. I think all 5 so far.
Yeah.
So you can take this stuff with a grain of salt, but it's it's funny. You've made this point. Once football starts, we're all immersed. It's Survivor and college, and what a great college slate we have week 1 and all the NFL games and all of that. But these pennant races, they kind of get forgotten about, but man, these are some awesome pennant races.
They really are. For those of us who still love baseball, they really are, and it should be fun into September as well. Okay, what did you land on baseball? Full day of Major League Baseball.
I played the Padres. I'll give a little shout out to our sponsor, Profit X. You can get the Padres minus 138 at Profit X. Better starting pitcher, Pavetta, better bullpen, better lineup. I think the Giants. It's funny. I kind of cast them aside mentally where, all right, they're done. They're out of it. If they had just taken care of business this weekend against the Nationals, they were put in a position where they could have crept within a couple games with how bad the Mets have played of a wild card spot here, but they lost a couple games to the Nats. They've lost a couple to the Padres. It's just not happening for the Padres. I think as a Giants fan, as a Giants guy, you'd probably agree with that. And this is just, even though there's a lot of runway left, as you say, it's just not happening here for San Francisco. And that Padres bullpen, man, I was watching some of them last night. I've been watching them a lot recently since the deadline. I can't remember in recent memory a bullpen this good where you get to the 5th inning, the game is over. They can just march these guys out. They're basically unhittable. I know the Yankees had some great bullpens in the late 90s. The Royals won a decade ago, was really good with their 2 setup guys into Wade Davis. But, man, they have 4 monster relievers here. They are going to be really, really dangerous in the playoffs. So I played the Padres. I played the Phillies with Sanchez, who is a ground ball machine. I think 96th percentile in ground balls in a ballpark where you need to get ground balls in Cincinnati, where it's small dimensions. And Hunter Green is coming off the IL. Throw in the fact that the Reds are awful against lefties, 300 on base percentage, OPS in the 6s. It's been ugly. So fading a pitcher off the IL, I get a ground ball pitcher in Cincy, and Sanchez, I think, is flown under the radar how good he's been this year. So Phillies on the money line for me. And then I did play a couple of first 5 unders. Mariners and Orioles first 5 under 4.5 with Gilbert and the resurgent Trevor Rogers. And then I went under 4 Cleveland and Miami with Perez and Gavin Williams, 2 young pitchers I like. So 4 plays total. Don't worry, Kelly. I'll text those to you. You don't have to type away like a madman.
He is.
Padres exactly money line, Phillies money line, Mariners, Orioles first 5 under 4.5, Guardians, Marlins first 5 under 4.
Wow. There you go.
Gilly, where did you get this guy? This guy's a machine. He should be a stenographer. What a guy.
Number 9 is what we call him.
Yeah.
By the way, the only month where the Padres bullpen sucked.
Oh yeah.
May. Guess which month I had the Padres. All right, last
offense too, man. Yeah, they were bad in May.
They were so bad in May. All right, let's close it with this. Your Minnesota Vikings. Kelly and I were talking about, which are the teams that we've heard the most variant viewpoints on. Kelly likes to say the Miami Dolphins are top of that heap. The Vikings are up there too. They may be 1B to the Dolphins 1A. Where do you as a Vikings fan stand on them right now?
Conflicted because they have all the signs of regression. They won a lot of close games. They were pretty lucky with injuries and turnovers and all that. And they have a quarterback that hasn't played before. That being said, I thought they got a lot better in some areas in the offseason, better offensive line, better defensive line, and they're so well coached that I'm conflicted. That's the best word for it, because that schedule is tough. And that NFC North, man, I think all of those teams are good. So on one hand, you got a ton of talent and good coaches. On the other hand, there's regression with the close games and the tougher schedule. So I ultimately just defer to being negative when it comes to the Vikings, but I could see it going either way, which is a boring answer.
More of your betting on Profit X these days on sweepstakes? Yes?
You can't recommend it. I mean, just you're getting 15, 20 cents better, 30 cents better on some of these lines. You're just leaving so much money on the table if you don't use it.
Good for you. He's coming around. Will Hill, everybody, at Not The Will Hill. Always appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, see you guys. Thanks.
Coming up, soccer, Premier League, season longs, multiple markets. Paul Carr, his long-awaited return on a numbers game, next.
And they're off.
This season with VSiN's College Football Betting Guide, exclusive to VSiN Pro subscribers. It's packed with 136 team previews, preseason top 25 rankings, and best bets from our experts. Pro subscribers also get the NFL Betting Guide, daily best bet emails, exclusive splits, and full access to our premium betting tools. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe for just $9.99 for your first 30 days. Or save 50% with an annual Pro subscription. And join us on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Numbers Game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Taylor Swift on the Kelsey podcast. Why can't you book her?
Catch a fever.
VSiN and Winner's Circle Proxy are giving away 2 grand prize packages for the Circa Million 7 contest. Each includes a fully paid entry, full season proxy service from the team at Winner's Circle Proxy, and an exclusive behind-the-scenes tour of our VSiN studios in Las Vegas. It's free to enter. Just go to winnercircleproxy.com/VSiN and fill out the short form before August 17th. Don't miss your shot to play for $6 million in guaranteed prizes this season. Go to winnercircleproxy.com/VSiN. Kelsey's get Taylor Swift. We get Ed Fang. Who wins?
Us.
Clearly.
You just kind of brought up a challenge. Now I'm going to see how far up the levels of assistance that Taylor Swift has that I can actually get a human response from for a booking for this show. Because I'm definitely not going to hear from like her.
You know the problem is if Taylor Swift actually says, "Yeah, I'll come on the show," I would have no idea what to ask her. She's like the one musical.
Oh, we'd be fine. We'd figure it out.
So remember that time that you had that one song where you talked about that boy? I wouldn't know what else to say. I have no idea.
She did have a good promo for the pod today, though. She brought out like her one line in the little teaser they released was just like, me on a football podcast, what every guy out there wanted to hear more of.
That's good. Good for her. Paul Carr, ladies and gentlemen, joins us. It's been a long time since we heard from Paul on the show. He is part of the Ringer Soccer Podcast and, of course, at True Media Networks. He joins us now courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line at Paul Carr, Carr on Twitter. What's happening, Paul? How you doing, man?
Gil, this is one of my favorite shows every year. Get to the Premier League preview. Soccer never stops, but it's kind of starting anew, at least in this vein. So we're ready to roll.
Soccer never stops. Let's just start with just a general, if you would, if we could, which is, just in terms of the off season, from a high level, what's been a main storyline?
So far, and I put the asterisk that the transfer window is at the end of the month, so things could change in the next couple of weeks. But so far, the rich are getting richer. So your top 4 teams, your Liverpool, Arsenal, City, and Chelsea, which are by far the top 4 favorites to win or to finish in the top 4, are outspending everybody. And almost all the big money transfers have been those 4 clubs and Manchester United, who are traditionally a big club, although they were terrible last year. We'll get to them in a little bit. So you look at the whole mid-table, and most of them are like, we got a piece or two, but didn't make any big moves. So it's just kind of the big clubs have been snapping up a lot of big players, both from in England and across Europe. So that it seems like there's a big divide between the top 4 and everybody else right now.
All right, before we dive in here, Tim Lawson, The Better Life. The Better Life. What's his new iteration called? The Better Life, a better something or other? Oh, we got to figure out what it's going to be on the spot. It's Better Life 2.0. He asks, question for Paul Carr, how much does he consider teams coming in or out of European tournaments from the year prior when assessing season futures? Is that a big deal in your handicapping?
So if I understand correctly, or maybe I'll just go a different direction, when teams play in Europe, that definitely changes things. Your top clubs doesn't really matter. They have the depth and the money to manage 2, 3, 4 competitions at a time. But one prime example this year is Nottingham Forest. They were a surprise last year, finishing in the top half. They almost finished in the top 4. And this year they're in Europa League. They haven't been in Europe for a while, even though historically they've had some success, winning a couple European Cups back in the day. I don't know that they have the squad depth. So that's one reason to kind of fade Nottingham Forest this year. I'd be kind of surprised if they finished in the top half, in part because they've got to go play every Thursday in Kazakhstan or wherever they end up in the Europa League draw. So it's a factor, especially for those mid-table type of teams that are not in these European competitions every year.
All right, we got a lot to get to. Let's flash up that Premier League futures board once again. Liverpool is the short shot to win, plus 180. Arsenal, plus 225. Man City, 3-1. Chelsea, plus 850. Everybody else, starting with Man U, a distant long shot beginning at 30-1. Who we got to win it all?
Yeah, so one of the reasons this season looks fun is those top 3 teams especially. There's a legit case for all 3 of them, and there's a legit case against all 3 of them. For me, I'm going with Manchester City at plus, I have them at plus 320, plus 300 there, so right there in that range. And the narrative part is, look, they had a down year last year. This is going to be a bounce back year. And, maybe this is Pep's last season. We've been saying that for a while, their manager. But it's a bounce back season. City's going to be back to normal. They're going to get 85 points and win the league. So that's your narrative part. But last year, as bad as it was, and we made a lot of money betting against them for a couple months, They finished with 71 points, which is they were 3 points behind Arsenal, who was in second place. So, a few more bounces go their way. They're pushing 80, and they brought in a lot of attacking firepower, especially. Not that they necessarily needed more, but they got that. Rodri, their defensive midfielder, who was the FIFA Player of the Year a couple years ago, is back. He'll get to full strength eventually. So much went wrong, and they still finished in third place relatively easily. They have room to improve. Still not sure they can defend, but they're better in attack, and that's enough for me, getting plus 320 on City to win the title.
All right. Man City to win the title. Plus 320, shop around. We also flashed up on that table, top 4, top 6. You're not touching either of those two markets.
Yeah, I don't have a good feel for this. Top 4, like I said, I think there's 4 clear-cut teams. I'd be surprised if any of them aren't in the top 4. The next group of 4 or so, Man United, Tottenham, Villa, Newcastle, all have major questions. And it wouldn't shock me if any one of them, maybe a couple of them, finish in the bottom half. So, and the mid-table is so jumbled that I don't feel great about any team particularly jumping that high. So getting into the top 4 and definitely making Champions League, top 5 probably makes it. I'm staying away for now.
All right, but top half, bottom half, you do have plays in.
Yeah, I got a couple top half plays. So, like I said, 4 teams locked for the top half, then 4 that are very much expected to, but I expect 1 or 2 not to make it. So you got 2 to 3 spots to play with. So I have 2 of them. Crystal Palace and Everton, I think, can both make that jump. Palace was about as good as anybody the second half of last season. One caveat for them is they are in Europe this year in Conference League, so that may test the depth a little bit. But they played Liverpool to a standstill in the Community Shield over the weekend. I think that's an indication of how good they are. And they actually ran bad last year from an underlying number standpoint. So there's room to improve. So they can do better than their 53 points last season, make the top half. I got plus 170 on them. Everton switched managers. They brought back David Moyes, and they were a solid, very solid top half team the second half of last year. They just got to continue that, and they can sneak back in. Brought in a little bit of attacking firepower. Plus 210 is my price for them in the top half. They were kind of in the relegation area for a while, even though their underlying numbers were much better. But I think they're a solid mid-table team and got a 1-3 shot at finishing in the top 10.
All right, and that's bottom half Man U.
Yeah, like I mentioned, one of these teams has got to fall. Doesn't have to, but is likely to fall into the bottom half. I think it's Manchester United again. Only had 42 points, finished 15th, I think, last season. They spent over $200 million to bring in 3 attackers, which is nice, except their big problems were in the midfield and defense. They haven't really done much to address those yet. So I don't quite know how this team is going to fit together. So this is a shot. This is plus 330 to finish bottom half. But I just don't quite see them making the jump. They have a real tough start to the schedule. Non-zero chance they change managers before Halloween or something. So not under, but bottom half for Manchester United at plus 330 for me.
Plus 330 on that. All right, relegation, bottom 3. You've had success in this in the past. What do you like here?
Let's go.
Yeah, this is funny. So last 2 years, all the newly promoted teams went straight back down. So your prices this year on the relegated or the newly promoted teams going right back down are pretty crazy. Burnley and Sunderland to get relegated are the price is just barely worth playing. Burnley's like minus 310, Sunderland minus 250. By far the worst teams in the league. I'd be shocked if they don't go back down. Leeds is the other one. They're about even money, and that's I think other people are higher on Leeds than I am, but I can see them staying up. So my shot is at Wolves at plus 320. And I think I picked them like 3 or 4 years in a row to get relegated, and they just keep getting away with staying in the league. And I think it's going to catch up with them eventually. They haven't done a lot offensively or defensively really to upgrade. They lost their 2 best attackers during this offseason. They do have a good manager, which is the only thing that gives me a little bit of pause. But they've been running so well the last few years that they're almost just due as much as anything. And I kind of hate to say it, but Wolves plus 320, I like that price for them to go down.
All right, so Wolverhampton relegation plus 320. Burnley dead last at plus 160.
Yeah.
Okay.
They ran so hot last year. They gave up 16 goals last year in 46 games in the championship, which is the second division. But their underlying numbers said they should have given up around 40. So their defense really wasn't very good, or wasn't as good as it looked. And a solid defense is the best indication of trying to stay up for these newly promoted teams. So I don't think they have that. I don't think they have the ability to score goals. Their manager, Scott Parker, has gotten 2 other teams promoted before and gone right back down because they can't score. So I think we'll see the same thing there. I think they're going to be really bad. Plus 160 to be last. It's them or Sunderland at plus 175 are really the two options. So I went with Burnley here.
All right, and finally, 30 seconds. Golden Boot. What do you got?
Very price dependent. You can get plus 2,800 on Cole Palmer of Chelsea to win the Golden Boot. He takes penalties. He's on a top team. Those are our two criteria. So make sure you shop around and find the 2,800. Don't play 17 or 1,800 like a lot of places, but you can find that plus 2,800. You could get 15 to 20 goals and add 5 or 6 penalties and maybe make a run.
All right. Paul will come back tomorrow with actual match plays, correct? Back-to-back Paul Carr appearances?
Yeah. That's right. Let's go.
I love it. Thank you, Paul. Great to see you, man. Thanks for all those.
You bet.
Tim Lawson's podcast, by the way, the new version, The Better Life, better than ever.
That's right.
Want to make that clarification. How about some baseball plays all day long with Greg Peterson next on A Numbers Game at VSiN.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Get ready for the Ultimate Futures Showdown. It's the 2025 VSiN Pro Football Futures Draft. Our live coverage begins on Wednesday, August 13th at 4 p.m. Eastern. 10 of VSiN's sharpest minds in sports betting go head-to-head, drafting their favorite NFL future picks for the season. Which VSiN host will land the season's smartest bets? Find out during the 2025 VSiN Pro Football Futures Draft. Only on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Numbers Game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Sharp plays. Check them out. Unmatched transparency with records updated daily, AI betting analysis, real-time global betting information, and alerts directly from the pros. We invite you to check them out. Sharpplays.com. Big day. After the show, again, Q3 MLB podcast, MLB derivatives, first fives, first innings, all kinds of stuff, umpires with Mark Borchard. We'll do that offline, podcast format, beating the book. And then the VSiN NFL Futures Draft.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, during the Follow the Money hours, but Mitch and Paul will not host it. Dustin Sweetelson will host it, the ringmaster. And then Mitch and Paul, among 10 of us participating in the draft, going to last 3 hours. JVT on the clock, number one pick.
Kelly Bidlin not invited, but I will be right at the gym listening eagerly to see how this goes.
The thing is, when you say that, I'm less. What I come to the conclusion of is you're not interested in the picks so much as you are the technical side of things, and if it goes without a hitch. Is that correct?
Whoa. First of all, it's going to be very informative. There's going to be a lot of great bets. I can't wait to hear what everybody has to say. But I'm very intrigued to see how Dustin is going to manage all of you.
Okay.
I think that they could not have picked a better host for it. I honestly believe that. Like, Dustin would be the best person to handle all 10 of you. But I want an over-under on how many repeated picks happen. Like, someone needs to set that line because it's going to happen. It's just, like we've talked about. We did this on Primetime Action with 3 of us. And it was, if we went a week without any problems, it was a massive success.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not, it's no blame on anybody. This just happens.
We get tweets. JC, I was thinking about how the FanDuel people can make their money back from the 50-cent tax. Just download the Upside app. Have a great day, fellas. Thank you, JC. 3Jack, H3131. Gil, once Kelly gets Tay-Tay lined up for Taylor Tuesdays, I'm betting she could bring unbiased NFL power rankings each week. She may even write a witty opening jingle for you guys, but you may have to briefly date her. That's bad.
Okay.
Who would be more miserable, Taylor or me? Prime time. Yo. Hey, man. Only thing funnier than watching Brewer fans get excited over a crap burger is the same fans dejected after getting ousted in the playoffs early once again this year, or if they lost in their second attempt at number 12, robbing fans an hour wait for a $1 burger.
Yeah, he did tweet me separately saying it was, for me, it would be like an Arby's roast beef sandwich with mustard all over it. He was like, it's about as good as that.
Wow. Full slate, Major League Baseball, day, night. We got just the guy for you. Greg Peterson, everybody, at GUnit_81 on Twitter. His tribute, his homage to the great Anquan Bolden, who wore the jersey number 81. It's Greg Peterson, everybody, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing great, Gil, and thank goodness we have day baseball today, unlike Monday and Tuesday, so we're doing even better today.
Did you notice that, like, the early games are moved back an hour this morning?
Yeah, but I will gladly take that over having nothing until like 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Last few days have been ridiculous, so I mean, if we can get day baseball at more like 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time rather than 9, I will gladly take it.
Totally with you. Before you launch into your baseball plays, is there any dating updates you'd like to share with us? Anything going on in the old love life?
We've just been keeping things steady. I've got a lot of college basketball conference previews over the next week or so coming out, so we have been very focused on that. We have to be workmanlike for the good people out there.
When you go on a date, do you let them know? Do you like, look, I got college basketball previews I got to work on, so we got to wrap this up? Do you do that kind of thing?
Oh, I never make sure that I'm wrapping things up early because of that or anything like that. But I will say in advance, I do have a little bit of work to do, and that's why we have to do this date a little bit later on. And I never specify that I'm doing like the Northeast Conference or something like that, because there's not a lot of women out there that are like, oh, thank goodness. I am so glad that you're going to be breaking down Mercyhurst basketball tonight. Nothing turns me on more than Mercyhurst basketball.
That's true.
Greg Peterson never wraps it up. Just wanted to make sure I got that
Never
down.
wraps it up early, does it beforehand. That's what he's saying. All right, Greg, let's start with the day games. What do you like? Daytime baseball today.
Absolutely. We've got ourselves the Brewers versus the Pittsburgh Pirates, and this Brewers team has just become a wagon. Like, my goodness, it is absolutely incredible. Now, this is starting to shoot up very, very far. The money line is up to about a minus 250. You're still able to get in on that run line right around about a minus 115, minus 120. Starting to get to a little bit of a point of no return. I took the plus money here when the Brewers were there on the run line personally. And I do like that 7.5 over with Mitch Keller. He's got an ERA that is 5 on the road for his career. So he's really had his road struggles throughout his career. He's been giving up also about 1.3 home runs per 9 innings when he's been on the road. This dates back to the beginning of his career since 2019. And Brandon Woodruff is just mowing them down. 11.5 strikeouts per 9 innings. He does give up a little bit of the deep ball as well, but for the Brewers, they pretty much hit the over all by themselves each of the last 2 nights. They really got to Paul Skeens yesterday, so run line's starting to get a little bit lofty here because a lot of money is funneling in on the Brewers, but if you're still looking to back them in some form or capacity, that over of 7.5 I think is solid.
Over 7.5. Brewers, Pirates. Brewers going for their 12th straight. Greg betting on the over there. Okay, still in the daytime. What do you like?
How about if we go with the Colorado Rockies and the St. Louis Cardinals, as the Cardinals got shut out yesterday at home by the Colorado Rockies. Now they go up against a guy in Austin Gomber who actually was part of the St. Louis organization a few seasons ago. I think that he was part of the Nolan Arenado trade. That total of 8.5. I think that this is a day where the St. Louis Cardinals bounce back, as you've got a pair of guys that are pitching to a ton of contact. For Gomber, he's getting fewer than 7 strikeouts per 9 innings. And Michael McGreevy doesn't hurt himself. He's only giving up in that neighborhood of about like 1 walk and a half a home run per 9 innings, but he doesn't get any swings and misses either. So I do think that the ball is going to be in play quite a bit in this one. For the Rockies, they've been a bottom 3 team in terms of bullpen ERA. I think that this is the bounce back spot for the St. Louis Cardinals. Right now on the run line, you'll find that at about a minus 105, minus 110. I'm a little bit more keen on the over, but I still played the run line as well. I'd be willing to play that up to a minus 110.
Las Vegas 514 on Twitter. Yo, can you ask Greg, does he have his Christmas tree up in the middle of August? I saw a Christmas tree in the background of a recent post he made.
Oh, absolutely. It's an all-year Christmas tree. It can't be an all-year Christmas tree if it's not up all year. So, yes, the Christmas tree, it always will be up. It will never be taken down.
All right.
I respect that.
We needed that clarification. Back to baseball. What's next?
What's next is you've got the Tigers going up against the Chicago White Sox. Troy Melton is going to be going for the Detroit Tigers. Feels like this is going to be a little bit of a piggyback / an opener sort of situation for the Tigers. I feel like they've got some good value here at between minus 127, minus 130. Recognize that it's been a less than savory run for the Detroit Tigers, to say the least. But for the Chicago White Sox, it's a bottom 5 team. In terms of runs per game, you're really not getting a lot of guys other than like Mike Tauchman. They're hitting for average. And for the Detroit Tigers, I absolutely love what you've been able to get out of this lineup. Pretty much everyone except for Spencer Torkelson is hitting a 260 or greater, and Torkelson has been able to supply 25-plus home runs, does a good job with regards to his on-base percentage as well. So with the Detroit Tigers, I do think that minus 128, minus 135, solid value here.
Okay, are you making any season longs at this point with a quarter left in the season, Greg, or do you steer clear of that? And if you are, what's your favorite one right now, either to make miss playoffs, to win the pennant, to win a division? What do you like?
I'm much more of a game-to-game guy at this time of year. That said, if I were to play anything right now, it would be the Texas Rangers to make the playoffs. They've lost a few games here recently to the Arizona Diamondbacks, which I do think that they're going to be able to have a nice bounce back today against Zach Gallen and the Arizona Diamondbacks. But I do think that they find a way to be able to make the playoffs in an American League that is as wide open as all heck for the Texas Rangers as well since the beginning of the month of July, averaging over 4.7 runs per game. Their offense has been much better since the beginning of the month of July, albeit this series against the Arizona Diamondbacks has not been the world's greatest. But I mean, that's one team that I'd be looking at if you're looking at plus money on a team to be able to make the postseason.
Okay. Paper Mike on Twitter says, hey, I have friends who hold baseball records at the University of Mercyhurst. So there you go, Greg. You brought up Mercyhurst earlier.
Yes.
All right, give us one more baseball play to go here.
How about if we go with plus money on the Miami Marlins against the Cleveland Guardians? Yuri Perez, that's coming off the injury list, has been rock solid. And for Gavin Williams, those ERA is relatively low, right around a 3.17, 3.18. The walks are a big concern for him. He has given up over 4.5 walks per 9 innings. The Cleveland Guardians are a very top-heavy lineup. They've gotten themselves back into the American League wildcard chase as well. I don't know how long they're going to be able to withstand, especially with the whole Emmanuel Clase situation as well. And for the Miami Marlins, since the beginning of the month of June, top 10 team in terms of bullpen ERA. that 7.5 total, I think that it is a little bit too low. So I did take a shot on the over, but getting plus money on the Marlins, I took them on the money line.
Wow. All right, Greg, I lied. 30 seconds. Have you made any college basketball futures yet?
I have not made any college basketball futures. Really not a futures guy. I'm looking a little bit more at the game-to-game perspective of things, but we're breaking it down every single day on the Coast to Coast Hoops podcast. I've not missed an episode in over 2,000 days.
Not missed an episode?
What?
Wait, 2,000 consecutive days?
Yeah, last time I missed an episode was in 2019 before COVID.
Wow.
Man is a machine. I didn't know that. Are you serious? Oh, my God.
Serious.
How do you have time to date, Greg? Got to do coast to coast.
I find time.
He finds